inclines or what it means? I don't think you do. Um, when they say you needed to stay patient, stay patient, stay patient, it's me constantly telling people things they should already know. It becomes irritating at a time. You know, it's like hearing yourself repeat yourself over and over again. It's like, damn, I'm repeating myself now. Because I know what I would do in this situation, but why they don't know. That's when it becomes bizarre. That's when it becomes strange. It becomes something else. It becomes some madness that it doesn't need to become. Now, first off, we're dealing in situations that don't usually make a lot of sense to people. And why people are starting to go into this series of a decline is because they hold on to things even when it's already broken, done, and need to be discarded. Now, people might have their own feelings. They're emotionally attached, and that's just how people are in general. They just emotionally attached to things. So when you start seeing situations present themselves and opportunities present themselves, it's up to you to recognize that and start dealing with it, you know, on a everyday regular basis. But what you're starting to see is people are misguided. They have very different views on how to handle certain situations. Now, for myself, I think it was very advantageous to make a decision to protect my second business. I had a bunch of people on the team who didn't understand what being a business is about. They thought the business is about me paying them. And just because they show up to work, they supposed to get paid for it just because they're being there. When you go work at a job, they don't pay you to come there. They pay you to do the job that they're paying you to do. Same thing here. If you're working for me and we cool, we got a good working relationship, I need you to understand that. Now, when you look at situations and how it's being done, how it's being put together, how people are being housed, how people are forced to be in situations that they're not comfortable with, right? You might have to make some tough decisions. To me, it's not hard or tough to me to fire someone who's not doing their job. To me, you're firing yourself. I would always say that in the business meeting. I say, look, I don't fire people. You fire yourself. Because if you was doing your job, I wouldn't be put in a position to have to say, I gotta let you go. So I gave them the courtesy of a phone call. I didn't have to do that. I let them air out their grievances, and I did it. Let them go one by one. Because why are you going to pay someone to do something that they're not doing? You weren't doing anything for me. So if you're not doing anything for me, why the hell am I paying you? What sense does that make for me to pay you when you are not doing the very thing that you were being paid to do? You see, that's how it works. So I gave them the courtesy of a phone call. I didn't have to give them that courtesy. I didn't have to give them a phone call. They were out of here. Gone. Kaput. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I was very much clear. I was very much clear on the path at hand. All of us was. You know I did. No, I had to fire them because I'm noticing I was paying them and they weren't doing their jobs. So if anybody here who's a business owner, they understand it. Some people could fire, they don't care. Some people do it, they cowards. In my opinion, they'll send them a text message or email. Fire, it used to be fired by fax. They fire by email. They'll get an email, but I'll give them that Zoom call and be like, yeah, we're letting you go. It's not a good feeling, but I'll tell them the why. They can give their argument. Well, I had to let one go because, never there to do the job. And then someone else is covering for him. Now, someone else was ratting him out, but if you got a job to do and you're not doing it, and somebody else is covering for you, that person's gonna be tired of covering for you. And that was basically it. That person was tired of covering for him. It was like, hey man, this dude coming to work when he feel like it and doing what he want to do. See, my thing was this. When I first started to witness this type of change, right? My first time noticing this type of change or this type of energy, Absolutely. So this type of change in energy could come along once every blue moon, right? But it was always very clear, very evident that if you were going to be in my circumference and be in my zone, my area, there was a different standard. My learning lessons on how to be a boss is when I was made supervisor. While the supervisor was out of town, I was elected to be first the assistant. I was the assistant supervisor while he was out of town, and then I was the head supervisor when the main supervisor was gone. First, the assistant supervisor, he had to go on vacation or whatever, so I took his place. So while I took his place and being the assistant supervisor, I noticed how just because I was just with everybody else the previous week, because I'm now in a suit and sitting at that desk, they treated me different immediately. And I said, that's crazy. Then that switched. Once I was the supervisor for 2 weeks, the main supervisor, because the assistant came back and they just said, he is not good enough to be the head supervisor. You are. So I'm like, okay. So I became the supervisor. And as I became the supervisor, everybody started kissing my ass. For 2 weeks, I was the man. So attitudes changed. Everybody else was kissing my ass. The females was trying to think they could sleep with me for advances and advantages. Meanwhile, I'm just telling everybody, look, I'm not here to run the show. You know, everybody know what they're supposed to do. Everybody know their job. Just do it. Let's do it. Treat it like it's any other day. Don't make me have to supervise you. All right, let's go. So that's what it is. I'm here to make sure we get all the job done that I'm supposed to do every day. So no need for me to be on y'all backs. Yep. Then you run into the weirdness. And it was weird. Older Hispanics who, yes, the boss, yeah, to everybody else. Once they saw a black guy in charge, it was, he thinks he's the boss. And it was only because the main supervisor sent an urgent letter saying that we got a new break-in order. So that had to be done effective immediately. So I said, oh, hey, we got a break-in order that just came out. It's urgent. You know, can you do the break-in orders? Because that's what he normally does. That's why I went to him. Why he give this to me? Why he didn't give this to Julia? First of all, Julia is 4'2" and about 82 pounds. Why would I give her a job with the weight of this job is bigger than her? 2, you do the break-in orders. That's your fucking job. I gave it to you. Do the job you always do when the white man give it to you. Now, if we gonna have a problem, we gonna have a problem. Because I ain't got to, hey, I'll be the nice guy who don't have to supervise you, but I have no problem in supervising you if you need it. So I had to let him know, Mr. Hispanic man, you don't want to play with me. This is not how it's gonna go. Now I had the Hispanics that was cool, but it was these uppity older guys, you know, who felt that it don't stink. So I knew right away, I gotta break this SOB in half. So I said, you know what? If you don't want to do the break-in order, you don't have to. I mean, I just gave it to you because that's the job you do. You know how to do this, don't you, Jose? Jose's cool. He was like, yeah. I'm like, cool. You want to do you got a problem doing the break-in order? No, I'll do it. All right, cool. You got it. You ain't got to do that. But since you're doing that, you doing micromatics. Now. Right now. Oh, now micromatics. Yeah, that's a little bit different. That's 5,000 steel rings in one box. That's got to be individually lifted. And you got to put 9 on a flatbed. Then you got to put a cardboard on there, and then you got to stack another 9 on there. Ooh, we're talking thousands of pounds. I'm finna break your ass. And, oh, you don't get no team help because everybody's busy. So when he was, well, I don't know if I could lift that. Oh, you can't lift the weight requirement that you signed up saying you could lift? You know, you do a lift test when you come take the job. They see, can you lift this? And you go, yeah, I can lift that, no problem. I was like, I can look up your sheet. You said you could lift that, right? When you got the job, right? I just want to know. Oh, you did say you could lift that. Okay. So you ain't got no problem doing micromatics. All right, cool. All right, just as long as we know. Remember, the count's 5,000. Yeah, per box. Okay, all right. Make sure that counts right. Broke his ass. See, that's how you got to do it. You got to break some of these people. Unfortunately. Yeah, that person was fired. Shortly after. Because here's a trick that some people use. Because, see, it's this lie that goes around, unless you're actually there, that they try to say that Mexicans work harder than blacks. They work harder. It's not true. They slack off. There's some lazy SOBs out there, too. Not all of them. Some of them work hard. Just like blacks. No. They slack off a lot. Now, they work good that first 90 days. They want to prove they do everything. Boy, they do everything. Boy, they work it. Once they become, that 90-day period is over, and they really pass that test, they get the medical card, they do everything. After that 90 days, it's slack off time. Well, I don't really feel like my shoulder got this little tick. I had dislocated my shoulder, and they put me on the most heaviest thing ever, caterpillar. They didn't give a damn about my shoulder. I was learning how to do everything with one hand. Good thing I was strong enough. But I took caterpillar parts with one hand. Most of y'all need 2 hands to lift that rail. I was strong enough to lift it with one because this arm was messed up. Because I had dislocated my shoulder. They like, you have a problem doing caterpillar? Nope. I'll knock it out. And I did. They thought I was going to whine and cry and beg. But I didn't. Nah, I leave that for other people to do. All that whining, complaining, crying. Real men don't have time for that. Gotta lace them up by the bootstrap. No. Well, here's the main problem. When you run into people that try to tell you something when you know more than them, unfortunately, people force you to do things. And me have been in a position of authority, I know when it's time to go. There was so many different avenues to take. So many different ones that you don't want certain people around. Different instances, right? I never wanted to have to fire anybody. But when you're forced and your hand is being forced constantly, then it's up to you. And that's what I had to do constantly. I was forced to fire people. I didn't need to fire. I shouldn't fire. Like this one lady, she was so nice. And they was like, you just firing all the men. Like, no. Sarah had to go too. Sarah comes in. Oh my God, my kid. Oh my God, my kid. Well, I needed a babysitter. I couldn't get the babysitter, and the babysitter said she couldn't watch her, so I had to do that. I had to take the day off. I'm sorry I couldn't call. Hey, so once that happened, everything changed. As soon as that happened, everything changes, flips upside down. Now I'm the bad guy because I had to fire Sarah. I didn't fire Sarah for that. I fired Sarah because Sarah did that about 12 times. I fired Sarah because on the day she's talking about that, at the time she's supposed to have been working, she found time to go watch a football game on Thursday Night Football. So she couldn't say, oh no, I just posted it that day. That's it from another day. I'm like, silly, I can see the television behind you. It's showing the game from the Ravens game on Thursday Night Football. The time you're supposed to be working. You're at a sports bar, drinking. Seems like babysitter, somebody's watching the baby. So I knew Sarah was lying. And all those tears was that she kept oversleeping, partying all night, not doing her job, and everybody's covering for her. But sometimes it's not about performance. Sometimes, budget-wise, the money ain't right. And unfortunately, somebody's got to get the cut. And it says, hey, if we start picking up in business, maybe we'll take you back. It's not personal. Everybody thinks it's personal. Sometimes people do get rid of people because it's personal. The supervisor wanted to get rid of me because he thought I was cutting in on his action. Like I'm trying to sleep with the girls and I'm messing it up for him. He's married, but he thinking I'm cutting in on his action. You trying to sleep with my girls? I'm like, no, they just like talking to me. You're a married, creepy dude that they trying to talk to you to keep from being fired. Shoot, if Me Too was out at that time, they'd have had his ass, but they ended up firing him too. He had got fired from the last job for that. It's crazy. He got divorced from his wife. They were going through a divorce because he was sleeping and messing around with some girl at the job. And then job let him go. He just got that job. I was like, me and you came in at the same time. They had just hired you probably 2 days before they got me here. And I knew all about what happened to him. And he was already hitting on 2 chicks in there. And the other chick, she wasn't doing no work, but he was keeping her on because he was trying to sleep with her. So no production. She's horrible. So their production is a F. You're getting no work done by her. So hiring her means nothing. But you on everybody's back like, pick it up, pick it up. I'm like, dude, go play. Go play. Mm-hmm. NBA Finals begin June 5th. No, jogging requires more. That's called walking, sir. Yeah, I walked around my neighborhood. It's good exercise. You should try it sometime. So yes, I fired half the team. When it was done, it was a much better team and a much better understanding that the people who knew that was there, they knew what was up. They was like, we better get this together fast. And what happened? We had record months because everybody who was there working knew like, okay, this dude ain't playing. So sometimes it's a required step. Other people, they hold on to people because they like them and not thinking about the job and what's going on, thinking we'll just survive this month, next month, and that person can end up doing something that cost you. One of our main problems is that people were giving out free orders to companies. Each order is like about probably $20,000 in transportation, the parts itself, all of it. All because they don't know A and B freight and ADF and A and B freight are 2 different companies. I swear it was the most shockingest thing in the world. A and B freight. Now, A and B freight is a known company. Trucking, transportation, the whole nine. Then there's ABF freight. A and B freight and ABF freight are 2 different companies. We understand that there can be confusion between the 2 companies. So we alert people right away. We have different colors for them and everything. We have put signs up that says, these are 2 different companies. Make sure that if it's A and B freight, do not give it to the ABF guy. ABF is not. When we stamp it, we stamped it. It's already stamped. So it's on there. So when you give it to the guy, The guy comes in and say what trunking companies he's from. We made sure it was such a problem that on certain days stuff is going out. We made sure they were not getting that package on that day. We didn't want both of them showing up on the same day. We would switch the order dates. Like they going on Wednesday, this is going on Thursday. So we'll have it already packed up, ready to go. We'd be like, oh, okay, oh, here it is. I'm like, dude, that's not even going out to Thursday. So the guy with the driver would have to come all the way back. So you gotta hope they figure it all out quick, so you could bring it all back. Mm-hmm. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. That's just all it is. But all right. Thank y'all for listening. I'm on it. And I'm out.